Hey, Professor Yerby here with you. One of the questions you may ask yourself when you're deciding on how to encrypt or secure your wireless network is which encryption do I choose? So we'll go through the different options from worst to best. So our first option is no encryption, no security, no WEP, no WPA, no WPA2, not even hiding your SSID. So that would be your next level up, is just simply hiding or not broadcasting your SSID. Some people say there's a level of security through obscurity. By not broadcasting, there is a tiny sliver of security gained. Not much, because there's lots of free programs out there that work on mobile devices, laptops, tablets, everything that will let you quickly and easily see these hidden wireless networks. Moving up the ladder of security, we go to WEP, or wireless equivalent privacy. And so this was kind of the first stab at securing. And the way that WEP works, let me see if I can pull up a diagram. 1 second here. Okay, so I found a quick explanation to kind of explain some of the weaknesses of WEP. So the initialization vector, which is required when you're doing any sort of encryption, is a random number that shouldn't repeat based on mathematical calculations. But in WEP, it's only a 24-bit random value. And so 24 bits is fairly small when we're talking about encryptions. So what happens with WEP breaking, all you need to do is replay lots of traffic on the network, have some software capture those packets, and this will become predictable, and you'll be able to take the encryption, the initialization vector, you'll be able to take that, predict which bits are going to which, and be able to crack the password. So on our ladder, so we started out with nothing, and then hiding our SSID, and then, whoop, that was loud, and then, sorry, and then the wireless equivalent privacy. So we've kind of discovered that all three of those are fairly weak. So then we come to WPA, WPA2, which is our current standard. Even within WPA2, we have some options. So let's talk about those real quick. So the first thing we had was WPA TKIP, which is our temporal key integrity protocol. It's again, it's the next layer up. It's designed to provide more secure encryption than our notoriously weak WEP. And let's see. So this one is certainly in use today. You'll see that in your router configuration when you go to make your choices. So the reason that you would perhaps still use WEP or WPA with TKIP is the client devices that you're trying to connect. Perhaps this is all that they're compatible with. So those are the reasons those options are still around, and that someone may still be using it because they have to. Going up another level is AES. So this is pretty much our strongest and most commonly recommended form of encryption. So let's take a look at what that would look like on an encryption, or on your router configuration page. So this is from a Linksys router. I imagine some of you have owned Linksys equipment. This is kind of a personal equipment that you may see. So when you go into wireless, and then you would select wireless security, you'd see these different options. So we started with our first one of disable, that means no security. And then we have our WPA personal, WPA2 personal. So that's equivalent to our TKIP encryption that I spoke about just a moment ago. And then we have WEP down here at the bottom. We know that one's, again, very weak, very crackable. And then we have these other two options here, WPA2 Enterprise and Radius. So our WPA2 Enterprise, you'll be able to choose what kind of encryption you want within that. Again, we would probably want to recommend AES as long as all of your clients are compatible with AES. And then Radius, we'll talk about that in just a second. But you can actually use WPA2 with AES with Radius. So let me show you what that would look like real quick. So I've selected WPA2 and the encryption type is AES. And then once you select that on your configuration page, you'll see there will ask you for a Radius server address and Radius port. So what I'm doing here in this Radius server address is I'm actually pointing to a pre-configured Radius server. This could be something that's set up inside something like a Windows Server 2012, 2008, 2003, whatever, or it could be a free product such as Free Radius. I think that's a pretty popular one. Free Radius. So we have freeradius.org, which is a open source Radius server that you can download. There's several others out there. Here's Tech Radius, and then here is a list of 7 free or low-cost Radius servers. So Pre-Radius, Tech Radius, Radius GNU, and I imagine there's some more on this page. But so you have several different options out there for Radius. You would just set up your port, the shared key, and the timeout that you want when you're authenticating. So the other option that we saw on this configuration page is we see the option for just straight Radius on our configuration page. If we selected this option, we could actually configure the Radius to run right here on the wireless router or access point, and we could maintain just an internal database there where you would register MAC addresses or usernames. Instead of authenticating to maybe an Active Directory server, you would authenticate straight to the access point, and that would be the control of who's able to access the network. So I hope that gives you some explanation of the different types of encryption, when to choose which type of encryption, and how Radius can work with WPA2, AES, and it can work as just a local instance on the equipment, or you can point it to a server that's running as part of a Windows Server operating system or one of the free or low-cost Radius instances.